Hi, I'm Kat from Drayer and I'm here to show you the rest of the unboxing for BubbleNet. So this is a Game Crafter prototype. This is the first prototype for this game other than the one that I made earlier. And it's kind of fun to have a real box to keep it in. I don't need them yet, but you know, it's fun. I like doing that. So here we've got a bunch of standard components. So I haven't done anything to these to customize them or anything like that. They're just standard components. So anyone can just buy these off the Game Crafter. And these are, in a way, placeholder components, so that if we decide that we want to make something a little more fancy later on, we can do that. But in the meantime, we've got these to use in the game, and so we don't have to worry about spending lots of money on something we don't end up needing. So this, for example, represents the fish. At the moment, I have each player using 40 of these. In my first version, each player had 64 of them, and we may end up only needing, say, 20 each or something like that. And so if I spent all the extra money to have custom ones of these made, and I'd done, say, 64 custom ones, I would have spent way more money than I needed to. So I start with the standard components and see how I get on. In the same situation, this one here will eventually be something more whale shaped, but currently this is the placeholder piece for the podmate tokens. This is basically what I actually designed the whole game around in a way. Is these bubbles. We've already got some glass tokens like this, and I don't know if you grew up in the 90s like me, you probably had a phase where you were really obsessed with these. I certainly was. George has a jar of them as well. I think it was just a thing. We all went through this, all glass, so tactile, so lovely. I've got to have a jar of those. So being able to use them in a game is kind of fun, and they look really cool as bubbles. So now the custom thing. So here are the cards. I think they look pretty good. So in the first version of the game, again, I had like 128 or something massive. Lots and lots of them, because I'd done every possible variation that you could do with 3 fish, and I think I had 16 different locations. So that ended up being quite a few, and even then I don't think I'd done all the options. It was too much. And part of the game is being able to somewhat anticipate what's coming. So I decided to reduce the number of cards so there are only 18 of them. Even so, you may not get 18 moves, but the more you play the game, the more you start to understand how the cards can be laid out and what sort of things to actually expect from the fish cards. And the way that the fish cards work is you need to make sure that you have north at the same orientation as the board. Aren't these boards lovely? I'm really pleased with them. This is my first time making the fancy, expensive accordion board, which is a really cool option actually, because it means that I can get this tiny little thing here will fit into the much smaller box that I want to use, but I get all of this play space. And because they're automatically printed on 2 sides, I did 2 variations. So I've got the darker one and the lighter one, which was very helpful because I couldn't decide which whale I wanted to use. When I painted them, this is actually the same painting. This is the second version, and this is the first version. When I first painted this one, I absolutely hated it. I thought, oh no, it's such a disaster. It hasn't worked out at all. And then it dried, and it actually looked pretty good. And I thought, oh, I made a fuss about nothing. But I still decided, no, I wanted to paint it and darken it. And so you can see here, hopefully, That's the darker version, and what I'll do is I'll just attach the images on the screen as well so you can see those a bit later on. But yeah, so I've got in the box for this one, we have enough for 2 people to play. What's cool about BubbleNet is basically you can add as many players as you want because you all actually use the same central pack of cards. So that's why I call it a multiplayer solo. Every person is playing on their own board in their own way, and that's the main way of playing the game. I've had some thoughts about other ways of doing it. For example, having each player having a little secret board where they choose where the fish are going to get out for someone else. Or it's a 3-player game and 3 people choose one location for the fish to escape, and those sorts of things. So there are certainly some options for variations with more player input. What's nice about this is that it's relaxing and you can just play it on your own, or you can play it with as many people as you like. It's not intended to be this big competitive kind of thing. It's basically just intended to be a bit relaxing. But I know that people like things to be more competitive, so I am looking at adding some competitive options to the game so that everyone can do something a bit more fun. Well, they're both fun. A bit more their kind of fun. Yeah. Anyway, so that's BubbleNet. Blook.